all the details, and I read the whole thing, and section 2 is what stopped me, and it made me recognize that language is really important. Language is part of our problem. We don't use language. We use language as a deflector, and we deflect against what's truly going on. We deflect against humanism by creating language that deflects from real issues. Section 2 is what I'm talking about here. Okay, the council declares that an emergency exists because it serves, this is the first part, an urgent public interest to eliminate the multiple jurisdictional challenges. Okay, an urgent public interest. I am the public. Houselessness, homelessness, people out on the streets are in urgent need. It doesn't express that. What it's talking about in section 2 is that the urgent public need is for jurisdictions' challenges so that they can all work together to do what? To sweep what this other woman just earlier referred to as the streets. The streets aren't being swept. People, humans, are being swept. They're being continued to be disenfranchised from all services every time this happens. They're being kept away from, can recycling, so they can't do that. All of their belongings are taken, so they can't have those. This goes on, and it's all in section 2. And what I'm asking you to do is not vote on this today, but continue to look at the language of this and locate a more humane answer than $2 million for sweeps of human beings. There's nothing in section 2 that is actually compassionate, although there is predictability. The predictability that the people who I know in St. John's, it's just about Christmas, are going to be swept right before Christmas. It happens every year. They were swept right before Thanksgiving. That's predictable, but it's not compassionate. The language is important. I'm asking you guys to just put this on hold. I know that you're not going to. And ask yourselves, why am I, unpaid, volunteering, handing these out every day to people in my area, people whose names I know, when none of the people who are getting paid for all this
Your time is up.
doing the job for the people. We need villages, Mayor.
Damn right.
The next two are
And
David
if you were
Potts,
here earlier, you would have heard testimony.
I was here for that.
David Potts and Charles Green Johnson.
And then I'm going to have today at work just to testify today. So I get that your schedule is important. So is my day at work. So is this.
Maybe your time is up. Thank you.
Ted, your time is up.
Thumbs up, Ted.
Good afternoon.
I'm David Potts, President of the Lentz Neighborhood Livability Association. Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for allowing me to speak. The citizens of East Portland have been waiting for action on unregulated campsites since September 1st, 2016, when the city swept the homeless population living on the Springwater Trail into our neighborhoods. The official comment of the previous administration at the time was everything went smoothly, everything was quiet and went according to plan. We have watched as each of the latest encampments on ODOT property is allowed to grow until it becomes a health, sanitation, and safety hazard for our neighbors, and ODOT is finally forced to post the property. We've talked to campers who laughingly refer to the latest cleanup as housekeeping and watch them move from ODOT property onto city-owned property until the next city sweep of their new campsite. At that point, they can move back onto ODOT property to avoid the hard choice to make a change in their lifestyle. This whack-a-mole approach clearly is not working for the citizens of Portland, housed and unhoused alike. House Bill 4054 makes it possible for the city and ODOT to adopt an intergovernmental agreement giving the City of Portland authority over the multi-use path, allowing enforcement consistent with city-owned property. I strongly support the adoption of the IGA by the city as a first step to getting homeless population out of tents and into humane housing, whether that be treatment, transitional housing, supportive housing, or permanent housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Again, Charles Grant Johnson. And I commend the man beside me for his optimism. But since we haven't talked about creating actual, safe, hygienic places for these people to live, I'm worried that the problem that he and his neighbors are so concerned about is really not going to be very much mitigated. We'll have the same people living outdoors, generating the same amount of trash, but we'll be a little bit better about picking it up and getting it to the waste transfer center, where I sometimes volunteer over by the tank farms. So, you know, there's been a huge legislative process and a lot going on to approve this money, but I think that even with today's earlier agenda item and eventually the kicking in of the housing bonds, we're really just doing a nut shuffling game and doing a slight bit of cleanup. I think that this would have been a nice time to have the anecdote, because we're talking about the ODOT people that had to put boulders under the 205 bridge, and now all we're saying is that when that happened, we would have sent a little team of our cleanup people instead of their cleanup people. I don't want to say a lot about the circumstances of this issue, because I've never personally been in a sweep to experience the difference between ODOT as super tyranny and torture, and the city is not so torturous and a little bit less tyranny. But we haven't said any that's really going to stop, or that any of these people are going to get connected to permanent housing. So it does seem like in the short term that's not really the best investment of $2 million, but it's not coming out of our money, and the ODOT's willing to pay. So let's turn down the notch a little bit on what these people are experiencing. Good luck, y'all.
Thank you. Is that complete testimony, Carla?
That's all I'm saying.
Very good. Colleagues, do you have any questions for the panel or for staff? Please call the roll.
Fritz?
Thank you, Mayor, for doing this. Thank you to Representative Reardon and the Government Relations team for doing it. The impact assessment on this ordinance is one of the best I've ever seen. And Seraphy Allen and Lucas Hillier, I hope you'll post it to the Mayor's website, because it really explains why this is a good thing to do, and the process that you use when you are assessing which camps need assistance and how you help the people who are there. So thank you very much for your work on that.
Fish?
So this is about, as someone who previously testified said, this is about having more consistent rules and enforcement. And since I had a lot to do with the Anderson settlement, let me say that the rules that were worked out with advocates at the table are the rules that now apply, and they did not apply when ODOT was enforcing its rules. So whether you agree or disagree with the underlying policy, this IGA ensures that a consistent set of rules, which are based on a judicial settlement with advocates at the table, are applied. Notice requirements and other things that are very important are consistently applied and enforced throughout the city. That's a positive. I want to thank Representative Reardon for his leadership. We're fortunate to have him in the state legislature. In my role as Commissioner in charge of Parks and Bureau of Environmental Services, we have a lot of projects we're working on. Jeff is tireless and accessible. He does a great job, and we're just grateful to have him as part of our delegation. Aye.
Saltzman?
Well, I also want to thank, I don't know if Lucas Hillier is here anymore, but I'm also a big fan of his. Oh, he is? Okay. I just want to thank Lucas and Seraphy Allen for their work on this, and ODOT. And Representative Reardon for carrying this to the legislature. But most of all, I want to thank Mayor Wheeler for really bringing to a successful conclusion one of those tough nuts to crack that has been around for the 20 years I've been here without any resolution. And people, particularly in the Lentz neighborhood, being really frustrated with the potpourri of governments that have jurisdiction in their neighborhood, and the frustrating answers they would get, and the lack of a consistent response on many issues. So I think we're making a step forward here with this legislation to provide consistency and provide a uniform set of standards for which these decisions are made and executed. Aye.
Wheeler?
So,
Wheeler, you hate the homeless, resign.
You already had your turn now.
Resign.
As we've heard today, there's significant camping activity on ODOT lands within the city. Different rules.
Resign,
and
Mayor Wheeler.
resources provided by ODOT, and the city
excluded
creates
from chambers, do you
significant
understand?
livability issues
But you will
for
be arrested
everyone.
for trespass.
Adopting the city of Portland's
Do you
approach to
understand, yes or no?
maintaining ODOT
No, I don't
properties within
understand.
the
You will
city's
leave,
boundaries
or you will be
would help
arrested
to
for
address
trespass.
all of these challenges.
Or I'll be arrested
There's
for
three notable
trespass.
advantages to
You're
the
actually
city's
excluded.
approach.
Check
The
if you want to
first
leave.
is the
Put your stuff
transparency between the city, people experiencing
your stuff
homelessness,
and
social service providers,
You want the police
and
to
the
come?
general public. It's beneficial
pick up
to
your
all
stuff and leave
involved to
yours
bring
through to
ODOT
the
property under the city's procedure so that there's an efficient and consistent approach to camp cleanup notification,
Resign, Ted Wheeler.
enforcement practices, and property.
You're just as
policies
crooked as the-
across Portland.
All the other politicians.
Mr. West, please, seriously.
No, I'm gonna give my say in too. You're
Keep moving.
why is it you don't want to talk to the city of people? Why do you not want to talk to the city of Portland?
Keep moving.
People want to talk to you and you won't talk to them. Why is that? Why did you run like a little coward when protesters wanted to ask you questions? Why, Ted Wheeler?
Keep moving.
I am moving.
Keep moving. Let's go.
Okay, we're back in session. I'm sorry for the interruption.
Stop when you were told. Now you're at City Hall. Let's go. Obi? All the way out. This gentleman right here. You're excluded all the way out. I'll be right down the paperwork.
Why am I excluded out of the?
Because we asked you to stop and disrupt it. You kept on doing it, and then when we asked you to leave, you want to argue with us, and then all
I
the
did.
way out, you disrupted business.
I did leave.
You disrupted business all the way out.
I did leave.
We asked you to stop, and you kept on. So now you're excluded at City Hall for 24 hours.
All of City Hall.
All of City Hall.
All right, Robert, let's go.
Okay, let me get my stuff back on.
Awesome. This gentleman just walked in there. My left. He's here.
Can I just ask you? No worries. 3 white and 21. That's the whole point right now. So what I'm just trying to get is just that I've been able to identify many white people. Right now, yeah, they're only accepting pedophile sympathizers right now in Nick Fisher's office. Afternoon, Isaiah War, still First Amendment, hopefully. Hopefully, still have rights here. Even though I don't know any whites that have any political power or legal power.
I'm going. I just had to get this back on.
Oh, no, just, let's go.
Okay.
He wasn't in there. Which way are you going to
Who
go?
wasn't in there?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, let's go. I had to return some keys and he wasn't.
Okay.
Going to go out 5th or 4th Avenue.
I'm gonna go out the back.
All right, let's go.
We're going.
What's going on?
I'm getting excluded from the city hall
Why is that?
because Mayor Ted Wheeler didn't like what I had to say.
What did you have to say?
I asked him to resign.
Let's
You
go,
said
gentlemen.
resign
A
and
little bit
you're getting
quicker.
kicked out because you asked him, you said, at some point, was it just a response or?
How about
Yeah, this is a response.
30-inch step, please.
You said what now?
A 30-inch step.
And
A 30-inch step.
kicking him out because he said to the mayor needs to resign.
Yep.
Let's go.
And why should he resign?
Why? Because he's the way he's running the city, allowing not doing anything for the homeless. His lack of police response on
So
a
why
lot
are
of
you
different
leaving the
things.
building? Were you told to leave the entire building?
Yes.
Because you said Ted Wheeler resign?
Yeah.
I don't
And because they said that I took too long getting out.
Let's go.
So you've been trespassed.
Not
Are law
trespass.
enforcement coming to kill you? Are they coming with their guns? Are you guys in a position to kill this man?
Let's go.
I'm going.
If he
Okay, I know,
passively
'cause
resists,
Excuse us.
Will you kill him?
It's gonna.
will you kill him? Do you have a gun on you?
Let's go.
Do you have a gun on you?
Let's go.
Do you have a gun on you?
Move.
Is that a gun?
Let's go.
So you've become so passive today that men with radios can kick you out of City Hall. Alex Jones, this is a farce. We need you here in Portland. I'm not sure if she's lies on me or Robert's on me.
My left side is better, please.
Okay. I'm going to use the restroom first.
There's public restrooms across the street in the field. You've been.
No, there
We
isn't.
got-
There's no public restrooms
All right,
in the
let's
facility.
let's go.
He's been kicked out of the building. He's asked the mayor to resign, and he's been kicked out.
Let's go, Robert.
He's been kicked out.
Use the facilities.
We've got
Let's go.
security here surrounding the man who just wants Ted Wheeler to resign. He's simply asked Wheeler to resign. We're getting shaky, body language, 60% of all communication.
Robert, I wasn't the one who asked you to leave, okay? I've just been asked to close. It's actually closed.
Well, I'll go under the sign.
Robert?
Yeah.